Hello everyone, I'm Faral Imran from the channel Data Sciencey, and today I'll be explaining you the topic which is called what are lists in Python. So let's get started. At first I'll create a list and then I'll tell you about it. So if I say I make a variable inside, then I use square brackets for list because list is a data type that you can change. It's mutable, means it's changeable, and you can add functions to it too. So here I added the square brackets for list, and I can add strings also. I can add numbers also, means integers, and I can use a mixture of both too, or more than that. Like the more data types I can add in the list. So if I use the single quotes and if I say hello and then comma, if I write an integer which is 6, then comma, another single quotes, if I say Tina, and then comma, and then if I say 9, comma, 6, comma, 2, comma, 0. Okay, so here you can see that I've created a list, and this is a one-dimensional list, means in one single square bracket you can see that all the things are added, the strings also and the integer also is added. And if I click on enter and if I say that print the length of the list, means the length of a, so we use for length of the list we use the function len. So if I say print and the round brackets, and if I say len and then the round brackets a, because a is the variable in which this list is stored in a. So if I say this and if I click on enter or run here, this is run main.py. If I click on this one, here when I'm clicking on enter, it's taking a little bit time. Let me use this one. Click on enter. Yep, here you can see it is coming, the answer is coming, which is 7. So if I say, see, you can, how it's saying 7, because when you count it, len is actually counting how many strings or integers or the mixture of those are in a list. So if I say if this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, so that's why it's 7 number. And I can use, even I can use take the user input for a list, like take the strings or integers from the users and then create it into a list. So let me show you how it's done. So if I say s equal to input and then round brackets in single quotes, I'm saying enter the string with space separated, means if I'm like adding the strings, but it should be difference, means like there should be some space between it. So here if I write it this one and then I'll click on colon and then space, and when I click on enter, first I'll write the function and then here I wrote this function, and then when I click on this, so here it says enter the string with space separated. For example, whatever string you want to write, you can write. If I say as case, how, or you. So here I'm not using any single quotes or double quotes. It will just, if I write it, after that when I convert it, it will be converted into strings in a list. So if I click on enter, here nothing is happening because I didn't write the code. Then when I click on enter, if I say r equal to s dot split, there's a split function which will convert it into a list. And then if I say print r, Okay, so if I say like Gina, how are you? And if I click on enter, see here a list is created and you can see all the strings are separated because the split is separating the ones which has the spaces, because here there's nothing, so because of the space it is separating. And if, for example, if I take an input from the user and the users are adding between the words, it is adding not the spaces, it is adding the commas, so we can use that one. Let me show you how it's done. If I say like comma separated, and then here I'll use the split function, and then inside this function I'll add the double quotes and use the comma, because we have to separate those values which has comma in between. Okay, now I'll click on run, and if I say data science, then comma how, then comma are, comma you. Now when I click on enter, see a list has been created. So how we can take the input from the user and convert it into list, let me show you here. Here I have added the code as LST, or I can change it to R, and then equal list list, because it's a function. That's why we do not take this as variable, as it's a function in the Python. It's a built-in function. And then round brackets map, and then round brackets int, comma input, and then the round brackets we say enter the integer elements. Then we'll use dot split. After that we'll close the brackets. After that we'll print the list. Now we'll print the list is, and then we'll use not lst, we'll use R, and then after that we'll click on run. It says enter the integer elements. If I say 5, 6, 9, 10, 3, 4, and then when I run it, see here the list is created. So this is for the one-dimensional. If you want a two-dimensional list, so how do we create it? Let me show you here. So if I'm using the same variable as a, and then equal, it says, let's see here, this one square bracket is for one dimension, and if you want two-dimensional, we use another bracket inside this bracket. So if I use another bracket, and if I say 1, 2, and then after, like when I go outside this square bracket, if I say comma, and then another square bracket, and if I say Gina, and then comma, if I say how, and then if I say, it's not important that it should be constant, the values inside it should be constant, or the number should be, it depends on you. And how or okay, then I'll go outside the square bracket, then I'll say comma, and then I'll make another list inside it, and I'll say you. Okay, now when I click on enter, I'll say I want to print, and if I say I want the len of it, len of a, see it says here 3. Why it says here 3? Because see, it is thinking of it as the outside the bracket, it is taking the len of it. So how many outside the bracket, like this bracket, this the outermost one, so inside it you can see it's 1, this one bracket, then there's another 2, and then 3. That's why it's 3. And if you want to get an element out from inside this list, this multi-dimensional, if it's a one-dimensional list, so let me show you here how do you get the value out of it. If I say I'll create it, and then I'll say Tina, let's go, then comma, for, then comma, shopping. Okay, Then if I say that I want to get a value from it, so what I will do, I'll say print, and I want to print it. Whatever you want to get it in the console, so you print it, use the value print. Then if I say R and then square brackets, it will tell you which position do you want the value. For example, if you want the position of 2, see, how do we know which position is which value? Here when you start, it starts from 0. So this is position 0, this is position 1, this is position 2, this is position 3, and this is position 4. For example, if I say I want a position 0, a value of a position 0, I'll add the value of it 0, and then I'll print it, means I'll run it. So see here it says Tina, because the value of position 0 is Tina. And if I say I want the value of position of which one, if I say 4, then it says the value would be shopping. See here the value of its shopping. And you can add the values of the negative position also. So how the negative position will start, it will start from here, and here it will say -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. So if I want a position of -2, so the answer would be 4. Here you can see. If you want the position of the two-dimensional list, which is here, you can see at first you want to add the position of the outermost bracket, which is this brackets. You can see this square brackets. What are the position of this? You can say this one is position 0, this one is 1, and this one is 2. And then inside those positions, you have to add another position so that you can get the value. Let me show you here. First, I'll print it, and then the round brackets, then A, and then I'll add 2 square brackets to get the position. So for the first position and for the second position. For the first position, if I say I want for position 1, which means this whole position. And then now inside this bracket, you have to add another position. Here it will start from 0, 1, and 2. And if I say I want for inside one, the position 1, so I'll add it. Then after that, when I say run, so here you can say the answer is how. So because this value is getting out of it. And if I just say that I want for position 1, so this whole value will come out. When I click on it, now this whole value is coming out for position 1. And that's all from my side. Thank you so much.